Hi, so for the auth, I'm using Passport for Oauth, so I'll be using a third party that is going to authenticate my user that visits the website. But since I'm just doing this for the back end, I'll walk you through what I did. Obviously, if you go to my package.json, you see that I installed all the dependencies that I'll be using. Particularly for this one, I have a cookie parser. I'll explain later how I'm going to use it. Then I have express session. Then I have passport. Then I have passport Google Auth. So I'll be using Google for authentication. And then I created a different folder that has my passport logic. So in here I import passport, then I import the Google strategy that I'll use, and then in my environment variable I have my client ID and my client secret that is coming from Google. And then from there onwards I then have my my passport. The way that I usually use the middleware router, I'm using here passport as a middleware. Then I call the method use, then I invoke a new instance of Google strategy, and then I pass for my first argument basically an object with a callback link to, or callback direction to where I want this to be picked up from. Then I pass my client ID and my client secret. And then if you go to the auth Google/direct, it's in my routes. So if you go to app, then you go to auth then takes the routes that are all coming from this auth routes. So in my auth routes I have login, logout, and then I have Google. So if you then check my passport, is then saying auth Google, then redirect. Redirect is going to trigger Google auth/Google will trigger this route, then redirect will trigger this one. So for now, if you visit auth/Google, it will trigger this one, which is then sent to Google, and there we want to extract only the profile. Then once that is done from my where's my passport, we then pass it a second argument, which is a callback function. This one is triggered only when the redirect has been triggered. So this one will then extract the profile, and the done is responsible for basically serializing and deserializing. So once I have that running, I then bring in my database to save my user. So first of all, before we save it, we check to see if the user is in the database, and so we check here by saying user.mode, because I brought it in as an object, as an object. So then then I just check here, find one, and then if it finds it, it then tells you that it is the current user. Else, if it doesn't find it, then it goes ahead and it saves that in the database. So that is working fine. So once that is done, if you go to my what was it before? Oh, I was looking at my routes. So then this one will tell you whether you're authorized or you're not authorized. So that's basically the Oauth 2 that I implemented. Now I'm left with having, after you are authorized, to start a session, and then you have a cookie for each user that will have visited, so that we can be able to check to see if you are authorized. Because once you're in our database, we have to check in our database to see if you're authorized. Then if you're authorized, we then allow you to delete and and to edit. But for now, the only things that you can do if you go on my if you go here is that if you say query, then you say get all users like that, and then I want a name and ID. So here you can get those, but then you can't mutate. You can't mutate anything. If I say delete user function that checks that, then I have an object, and then that object expecting ID, then I pass the ID, and my ID, let's say for this one, pass it there. So then it should allow me your user is not authenticated. The reason why it's doing that because I haven't introduced the cookies yet to store the person within the server or the database to be allowed to do this. But for now, you can only if you're not authenticated, you can only view, but you can't update or delete. So I'll be moving on to web tokens and cookies, and see how I can be able to use that to authorize users to mutate data. Cheers.